So one of the coolest things to me is, being in the city and just going to like a grocery store and then seeing somebody with my jersey on, or like seeing little kids like with little mini jerseys and stuff, where I come to a game and then everybody's chanting my name, my jersey. Like that never gets old, and that never will get old. That admiration and how people view you and how an entire state just take you in, like that's something that's pretty dope. And that's something I never get tired of. It's just one of the cool experiences I've had, being a pro.
Thanks for listening. This podcast is sponsored by PWCC Marketplace. PWCC is the vault company that I personally use to store all my collectibles, my sports cards, my tickets, my memorabilia. In addition to their vault services, I also use them every Sunday. They have auctions that close at 7 p.m. Thank you so much, PWCC. You guys are incredible. Myles, thank you so much for joining. You are a legend and a titan, and obviously, you're at my Indianapolis Pacers. I appreciate you for joining.
Of course, man. Appreciate you having me on. Me and you go way back, so this is no feat, man. I'm looking forward to this.
Way back. Do you remember where we first met?
Of course I do, man. It was a Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah. It was the funniest thing, bro. So I had watched Entourage like that same year, and I never watched Entourage growing up. And I heard about the Sundance Film Festival. I had no idea what it was, and I just randomly decided to go. We happened to be there that night, and then you really took care of me. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know anybody there. I was just walking around aimlessly. Kind of took me under your wing. Was like, "Yo, come chill with us, bro. You play with the Pacers? Yeah, come chill with us." And I've been tight since.
I was so excited. I remember because I don't really follow a lot of sports, to be honest, and especially at that time. But you said you're from Indiana, and I mean, come on, you got to take care of your people, So I was super excited.
I appreciate you, man, more than you know. I appreciate that.
So if you don't mind, just kind of, I guess tell us where you're from, how you got into basketball, just kind of, just your story a little bit.
Yeah, a little crash course. I mean, I'm from Bedford, Texas. I take a lot of pride in being from Texas. It's kind of how it goes where I'm from. Bedford's a small suburb, like, 50,000 people or so, about 20 minutes, west of Dallas. And, I'm from the DFW Metroplex itself. So you have Dallas, you have Fort Worth, and I'm literally from directly in the middle of both of those major cities. It's called the Mid-Cities. I actually grew up a huge baseball fan, which is kind of dope seeing you collecting all these cards, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was a huge baseball fan growing up, and that was like my first love, my first sport. And as I, grew taller, and these kids were just pitching a lot faster, my strike zone was like this big. I knew I had to hang it up for baseball. And everybody was telling me, "Man, just play basketball. You're taller, just play basketball." Dad grew up a big basketball head. He loved it from New York. And that's kind of how I got into it. It was really my parents. And my mom actually bought me my first hoop. When I was real young, couldn't even reach the basket, she still bought me like a 10-foot hoop. She never allowed me to have like a little Tikes hoop or like a little one. So no, until you can shoot it, you're just not gonna be able to shoot. So I think from a very young age, she installed such a competitive nature into me.
And you have a lot of brothers and sisters?
I don't actually. I grew up with a lot of siblings in my house. I have a blood sister, but I actually grew up with like three more of my cousins in the house as well. All females. The only guy in the house.
Wow.
So, But getting back to it, yeah. So my dad really signed me up for basketball at a young age, and I'd always kind of played on the side. Like I said, baseball was my first initial love. And as I grew older and as I grew taller and I started to, gain more of a love and respect for the game, I just got better and better and better. I was at a crossroads by my junior year of high school. I broke my ankle, and I was pretty much burnt out from basketball. I had been playing for like 4 or 5 teams at one time. Like, didn't really live like a normal kid. I wasn't like hanging out with my friends at the school. I wasn't like going to the mall and stuff. It was always like the next basketball practice. I literally dedicated my entire, preteen years and whatnot to get to where I'm at today. And, I sacrificed a lot. My family sacrificed a lot to get to where I'm at. And after breaking my ankle, I was kind of just ready to be done with it. But I just remember during that rehab process, I garnered new appreciation and respect for the game. Being taken away from it for so long, like 6 months. It made me realize how much I love basketball, and it made me work that much harder. And that's kind of what instilled that new extra work ethic to me and got me to where I'm at today.
Was that just your family pushing you? I mean, after you kind of realized how much you loved it, were they also just, you got this, or?
My mom was a huge, Myles, you're going to do whatever the hell you want to do. No matter what, you can be a garbage man, but you better be like the best damn garbage man there is, in a sense, right? So my dad really wanted it for me. And I personally didn't want it at first, but once I kind of realized how much my family was struggling in a sense, I said I kind of have no choice but to, make ends meet in a sense and try to get to that next level. It's a funny story about, I guess, right before I went to college, I committed to the University of Texas and I was on my way out. This is literally the week before I was about to go. I found a letter from the IRS, like on my dad's nightstand. And, my parents were real strict on like, don't, if you're in my room, don't touch my stuff. But I just happened to notice this one letter. And I was curious that day and I looked at it and it showed how much my family was in debt. And I realized like how much in debt we were. Like it was a pretty substantial number. But my parents had always did a great job of not making us feel like we were broke in a sense. Anything we wanted, they tried their best to get it. They would do whatever it takes to make ends meet and made us feel like rich in love and like rich in spirit and that type of thing, right? But in reality, that doesn't get you anywhere. Like we were broke. So once I saw that, that was my extra motivation going into college to actually get to the NBA. And I knew like from then on out, like I had to do whatever it took to, get my family to where they're at today. And I guess that's kind of where another, drive, was instilled in me.
Wow. Did you feel like a weight on your shoulders? Like, hey, I mean, that was your drive, but what if you didn't? I mean, did you say, I have no choice, I'm gonna do this, and you just knew in your head, or?
Um, you know, there's two parts to that answer. Like I guess the reality of me set in, the humanity standpoint of things. When I went to college, it was my first time like on my own and being able to go to parties or being able to have like a bigger social life. And I kind of fell in love with that college lifestyle in a sense,
Yeah.
right? So I was this close to be like saying like, yo, like, can I just stay like one more year? Like I told my parents, I want to stay one more year. And then my mom was like, yo, son, we are broke. Like this is not going to happen. You got to make this jump now. So I kind of fell into that little crowd of it, just having that little influence in a sense, and also kind of fell into the fact of being a highly touted recruit. I was the number two recruit in all the nation. Right, I was
Wow.
highly touted, highly sought after coming out of high school. So sometimes it's easy to fall into that hype train and start smelling like or just start feeling it a little bit more in a sense. And I fell into that a little bit. I struggled a little bit throughout my year, but the talent was always there. It was always like the mental for me and the confidence of knowing I can make that next jump. And then once I had the people around me in the support system, I did. Fortunately, I was able to make that next step to the NBA and get to where I'm at.
Well, and you left after your first year, right? You went into the NBA after only 1 year in college.
6 months, bro. I was in college for 6 months.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so that summer going into college, I guess I should have mentioned that. I played for Team USA basketball, their FIBA under 18 team, and I missed the entire like summer semester. So I caught the last like second semester, and if I were to try to go back to school today, I think I literally have like point 0.5 credits. Like I literally didn't do any damage whatsoever. So I did my 6 months of school, and then I left early and went to the NBA draft.
Okay, so did you catch a lot of heat for that? Because I see a lot of people talk trash on college guys going into the league early, but they don't talk trash to, let's say, college coaches that leave for other opportunities after only being there for a short period of time.
Yeah, you're open up a big rabbit hole here. So there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. I mean, it's a little bit better today. The NCAA has kind of had to, we pulled our card a little bit. You have a lot of guys coming out of high school and going straight to the G League and then try to get that route. But at the time, it was a straight like you had to have your 1 year of college into the NBA for me. So a lot of people said I wasn't ready. I had like a lackluster year. I was still trying to figure things out. I didn't play much. I came off the bench, like only played like 20 minutes a game maybe. And in retrospect, for someone who garners a lot of minutes of college, it's not a lot. A lot of people are saying I need to stay back another year to work on my game, work on my craft. But I kind of knew that no matter what it took, I had to get to the NBA. So I was willing to take my chances. So I took a 3 month basically to myself right after I left after that spring semester. And I did nothing but train like 3 times a day. It was just me and my dad. We were in Vegas. And at the time, I'm 18 years old. And you know how it is in Vegas. Like, they don't play about that fake ID stuff. Like, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I was literally just me and my dad in Vegas in a little hotel with no Wi-Fi, nothing to do but basketball. And for 3 months straight, I was able to lock myself into just, you know, or I guess commit myself to myself. Like I started a new diet. Like I started working with a new strength coach. Started working with an individual, one-on-one private coach and whatnot, and prepared myself in that draft process to get to where I was at. And it did everything went the right way. Really helped me out.
Well, how'd you afford that though? You guys didn't have money at this point. You haven't been drafted yet. How'd you afford to be in Vegas, have all this kind of things? Do they kind of do that and say, "Hey, we're rooting for you, and we'll do it. Like you're going to pay us when you sign a check," or how does that work?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There is ways that this works. So as usually when you declare for the draft, you hire an agent, right? For me personally, when I was in college, it's against NCAA violations to like speak with the agent like during college or sign with one or do all that type of stuff. So my parents really took a big part in that process for me. So I obviously was able to abide by the rules. They were basically interviewing agents and whatnot who was best fit to represent me. Then once I found the right agent at the time, the agency pays for everything. They pay for your workouts, they pay for your meals, they pay for your travel and whatnot. And just like any business, you're just a long-term investment for them, right? So they're pumping all this money into you. And then once, you sign your first deal, I mean, let's keep it real. Like I was a lottery pick, so you're a multi-millionaire overnight. Like that money just like basically hits once you sign your signing bonuses and whatnot. So you pay that the agent back once you sign your first deal.
Oh, you pay them back. They're not just putting that out of their own commissions. They're not like that's not the investment into the deal. That's a
Yeah,
loan.
technically they are. You don't necessarily pay them back, but like you basically pay dues in a sense, right? Like you have your agent fees, you have this, you have that, but it comes back out. And that's not how everybody does it, but that's the way like I went about it.
Okay, got it. Okay, so now you get signed. Were you with your parents when you got drafted, or where were
Oh,
you?
I was so in the NBA we have what's called the green room. It's when you watch the actual draft on TV and you see all the kids sitting in their suits and ties on the tables down there. That's
Yep.
called the green room. And the guys that are projected to be like first round picks, like they get an invitation to the green room. So getting an invitation to the green room is a big deal. Like that means like you're in, projected to be like a first round pick. So I was drafted number 11. I had my mom, my dad, my sister, and my agent at the table. And
Wow.
put it all online. And when I got drafted, it was a very humbling moment for me. It almost feels like an out of body experience in a sense. Like I don't remember walking across the stage. I
Yeah.
remember afterwards, like doing the interviews and stuff like that. But that moment of like hearing your name called, Indiana Pacers, like Myles Turner, like it's like everything you've worked for your entire life just hits you all at once, right? It goes bleak, and it's just it was an amazing moment, and it was even more amazing that I was able to share it, with my family. And, my dad had always dreamed of making it to the league and playing, but he had suffered quite a few injuries, in his younger days, where it kind of kept him back from being there. So he was able to live vicariously through me, in that
Oh, that's
moment. It
cool.
was dope for him as well.
So what's the first thing you bought? You got this check. You signed the deal. It's a whirlwind. Now you get this money. What do you do with it?
So I was a little different than most draftees. Most guys will go buy a car, will buy their mom a house, and this is
Yeah.
that. I went about it a very different way. The very first thing I did was set up my own LLC. It was it's basically a management company, and it's how I was going to employ my parents. So both my parents sent their letter of resignations to their respective jobs, and saying that they've accepted a position to, to fulfill their dream jobs, which is to come work for me. So I paid off all my parents' debts and my grandma as well and my aunt. So I paid off everybody's debts. The very first thing I did. Then I set up this LLC to where everybody can retire and then work under this umbrella company that I started, like literally for my rookie year. And to this day, it's my corporation, it's my company, it's my name, and I'm still able to make all these deals throughout that.
Wow. So how'd you learn how to do that? Did your management then tell you, hey, this is how? I mean, you never done it before. You're 18 years old.
Oh, zero. I honestly didn't. It was a whirlwind for me. I was sitting in the room. They're talking about, I don't know what the hell the LLC is. I don't know what the hell W-2 forms are, any of that type of stuff. My dad had spent a large deal of time educating himself on, the process and like, finding a financial advisor, how to handle money, how to set things up like that. So, it's a family business what I got going on. I'm obviously a CEO of my own company and CEO of my own stuff. I'm a walking, CEO in a sense, but like I didn't get here by myself. Like it literally took a village to get to where I'm at, and that village is still with me to this day. So this LLC was just was the basic way I was able to educate myself and educate the people around me to actually keep this business going.
It's amazing. Now, what would you have done differently? Is there something you've learned now that you've been a CEO for a long time? Like, let's say you could go back and tell your 18-year-old self some advice. What would you tell yourself?
That is the dirty game we play. That's the first thing. You know, a lot of people don't realize that the NBA is a business. It's not just, oh, I'm living my dreams and playing basketball and, I'm signing shoe deals and, I'm meeting this celebrity. Like, that's a lot of the stuff that comes with it, but it's a business first. And I didn't necessarily know about business ethics, right? I always saw the good, like in people, the good in everybody. I didn't see it as like, well, people just want to know you because you're Miles Turner. To everybody, to me, I'm just Miles. To everybody around me,
Yeah.
I'm people outside of my circle. I'm Miles Turner, and I didn't realize the difference between just Miles and Miles Turner. And I wish I would have been able to grasp that concept a little earlier. Like I just saw the good in everybody and said, "Oh, this guy wants to work with me because he thinks I'm a good guy," or "This guy wants to work with me because he thinks I'm good at basketball." No, it's not about that. They see me and they see an opportunity, and all they have everybody has a great idea, but they just need my money. Just need your money. We can make this a great. So
Yeah.
earlier, I always saw that as, oh, well, all he needs is my money. This is such a great idea. Let's do it. But it never really turned into that. Like I didn't necessarily get into like involved with too many bad like deals per se, but I got burned on the back end of some deals, and I wish I would have realized that concept earlier. But everybody has to go through that. That's just a transitional period. It's not normal for a 17, 18-year old to have millions of dollars overnight and be thrust into this lifestyle.
And a normal VC that invests in C deals, they'll invest in 100, hoping that one hits it and covers the loss of those 99 others.
Hmm.
It's just you're probably investing in a lot of small deals that maybe if they did hit, they wouldn't have 1,000x return and cover the difference. You're
Right.
but yeah, that's good. That's good. So okay, so what's your worst investment and what's your best investment?
The best investment is definitely into myself, and let me explain that a little bit.
Yeah, please.
A lot of people hear about LeBron James spending millions of dollars on his body, and
Yep.
best. That is something that is very true. My first 2 years, I'm 18, 19 years old, and I didn't realize how much eating impacted your performance overall. Like I was eating burgers before games, pizza, like Popeyes, like whatever the hell, like stuff I'm used to growing up on in a sense, not realizing that you can't fuel a Lamborghini with regular ass gas. Like you had to be able to
Yep.
put the and I didn't realize that. So my second year, I started to gain some weight, and it really affected my play and my knees and my tendons and whatnot. So I hired a chef, a private chef, a personal chef, my third year, and she's been with me ever since. She helps regulate my body weight, helps regulate, sometimes even like sicknesses and whatnot. She's able to like just to put the right fuel in my body, and she's also a nutritionist. This stuff I wouldn't have known about. Um, and then also just investing in my body. I do a lot of yoga in the summertime. I do a lot of cryotherapy work. I do a lot of work with different doctors on different body parts of mine. Like my body is legitimately my livelihood, so I have to treat it as such. Um, the worst investment I ever made. I invested into this company like my second or third year in the league. I don't remember exactly which one it was. They might have been my third year. um, Basically, it takes all your banking information and all your information, and like it creates a portfolio for you and lets you know how to better. What's the best way to describe it? I guess to better prioritize like your money in a sense. Like it'll budget stuff out for you and it automatically does it for you in a sense. It was this app, and this is back when the whole app craze is going on and
Yep.
whatnot. It was the next big thing, whatever. So yeah, and a couple of my like people around the league had invested in it as well, and I thought, okay, this is a safe investment. So I did it, and it actually, in like literally like 3 months later, it ended up like stealing people's information, stealing people's banking information, like the common people's like information in a sense. So right away, it went to the shitter. So all my money was basically gone out of that like quickly. It was legal,
Wow.
all sort of stuff that came with it. Nothing that necessarily implicated me in a sense, but it was just the fact that my name was attached to such a bad tanking company. And after that, and that was one of those deals where I saw it. I was like, "Oh, it's such a great idea! Like, let's just do it." And I didn't put any thought into it. Didn't even read the fine print. I just jumped into it, and that was like the young me.
Yeah, but you learned.
Hmm.
Wow, that's a bummer. Um, yeah, that app craze, I remember, and I was looking at a lot of those deals, but at the time, I think the stat was there's 700 new apps launched in different categories every single day. Like, just so many apps are being launched, and
Mm.
everybody that I would meet with that was a founder was saying, "I'm the next Uber. I'm the next,
Yep.
whatever." I don't even think Uber is around, but there were only at the time, I think there were like a few billion-dollar valuations. So the odds that that app is going to make it. Anyways, wow, what a learning. Now, when you say your body and your food, are you big into organic?
Um, so one thing I've learned is I can pretty much eat anything I want to do as long as it's in moderation, obviously, just like anything in life. But I wouldn't necessarily say organic. I would say I'm not into like hard dairy or like hard like proteins in a sense. Like I try to go for like leaner meats or like vegan options or dairy free everything. I'm gonna tell you right now, like I could never be a vegetarian. I can never be a vegan. They can do
Yep.
paleo. Like I love, my steaks and my hamburgers, all that stuff too much. I'm from Texas. Like this is
Yeah.
like a big what I do, you know. Um, but it's just making smarter choices when it comes to like the small stuff. Like instead of like, going out and getting these wings and whatnot and eat them with a whole bunch of ranch. It's like, all right, you can have your wings here and there, but like stay away from the extra fatty stuff, stay away from the buttermilk, stay away from all this type of stuff. And less carbs. Like you have to have carbs to live in a sense, right? You can eat your carbs and whatnot, but stay away from like the fattier carbs, like obviously like French fries or even your mashed potatoes. Like stay away from all that type of stuff. So I got into the whole organic craze for a little while, but I didn't really see like a huge difference in a sense, right? It was just more so like, okay, well, this is a cleaner option.
Yeah. Free range, organic. So that stuff isn't too important to you. It's really about the quality of food and
Mhm.
what you're eating. Okay,
It's that-
got it. How'd you find your chef? Because a lot of people maybe will listen to this and like, okay, chef sounds good, but how do I find one? I don't even know how to do that.
I honestly think I lucked out. My chef was damn near a world renowned chef. She's cooked for like princes and kings and queens and stuff like that overseas. She just happened to know one of my coaches that I was working with happened to have an opening at the time. She was just doing catering and whatnot, and working in individual contractor, working for other companies and whatnot. And she was back home and she needed an opening. I needed an opening. The stars just aligned. So I tried some of her food. I liked some of the stuff that she was talking about, and some of the promises she's made, and she's lived up to them.
Wow. So she's from Indy, or she lives in Indy.
No, she's from Texas, back home in Texas.
Oh, wow. But then
Yeah,
during the season, she lives there in Indy?
yeah. So what I did was she works, for my company as well that I alluded to earlier, my LLC and whatnot. And I just she anywhere I go, she goes. I pay for an apartment down here right down the street. She lives 2 minutes away. And when I go back to Texas, she's from Dallas, so she's able to go back and forth where I needed to be. I'm about to go to Sedona for All Star break, and then I'm gonna take her with me there. Like anywhere I go, she goes. 'Cause she's such
That's
an
great.
facet of my life right now.
Okay, now you mentioned your coach. So you've had four coaches, four different head coaches in 7 years.
Yeah.
Um, how's that? I mean,
Um, it's just the nature of the business, man. It was weird for me because my very first year we had who's probably gonna be a Hall of Fame coach one day. We had Frank Vogel, and he was someone who had taken Indiana to two Eastern Conference Finals. And the year he was there, we had a little bit of a down year, but I was my first ever coach and one of my favorite coaches. And he instilled a lot of confidence in me from the jump. And then he was gone the very next summer. Then we had Nate McMillan, and we got to a couple playoff. We made a couple Game 7 playoff runs and whatnot, and he was gone. Then we had one coach for 1 year, Nate Bjorken from Toronto. He came down and coached with us, and he was gone. And then now we have another probably Hall of Fame coach as well, and Rick Carlisle. So for me personally, when Frank got fired, that was a little bit like a shock to me because I'm a rookie. I was like, damn, this is my coach. He's already gone. But then as a coach started getting fired, I was like, dang, this is just part of the business. One day I can be in Indiana, the next day I can be wherever. I can
yeah.
be in Golden State, whatever it may be. But everybody is just looking for their next opportunity. This is just a stop in the road for a lot of people in a sense. And that's how I had to learn how to view it.
Well, do you think that it actually is helpful because now you get four different coaching styles, four different kind of ways to play the game, or is it more frustrating because it's like, hey, I just want to get in a rhythm so we can start building kind of a good vibe here, and then as soon as you start to get in the rhythm, then it changes.
It's a combination of both. I think that one, like, another thing I learned early is that nobody in this business is your friend, right? People care about your ascension. People care about you to benefit their business, but as a person, like, they're not your parents. So I never formed like a emotional bond with any of my coaches or like, that's my guy, that's my best friend. Like, no, we're business partners, and that's kind of how I was able to view it from like my third year on, and I learned that just like quickly. Um, but to go back to your original point, like it helped that I was able to see different coaching styles and, see different philosophies in a sense, different plays, different playbooks, different schemes. But stability is everything in this league when it comes to winning, in my opinion. Having a coach for a few years and getting a sense of who he is and how he likes to run things or what his style is at the end of games, you want that, especially in the playoff runs. You got to be able to have a good relationship with your coach. But when you have guys coming in and out, in and out, in and out, you never establish that, that ground floor, that base for relationship. So, I didn't necessarily just hate it, but it wasn't the most ideal for, people with winning aspirations.
It's tough, I mean, change is always difficult, but that's good. It seems like you pivot well.
Have to, man. It's crazy. Me personally, I've been in trade rumors the past 4 years of my career, and you know,
Really?
yeah, and I'm just someone who just is a hot commodity. For what I do at my height, it's something that's highly touted in the league right now and highly sought after. I've led the league in blocks the past 4 years, but I'm also someone who can stretch the floor and shoot. Typically when it comes to big men, you get one or the other, one who plays offense or defense, and I'm able to do both. And I only have one more year left of my contract, and teams look at that. This team looks at that. And who knows where I might be. There's only 9 days left till the trade deadline's over, and you know, it is what it is. Wherever I end up, I end up. If it's still here in Indy, I'm a fight it out and be where I've been my entire career.
Do you have a preference, like, or is it just like how mentally, like, how does that work? I mean, I guess Indy's your home now, but you've also been there. Is it nice to, like, hey, let's go and move? Like me, I moved out of Indy, and it's nice to get new experiences. I love Indy, but I mean, how is that for you guys? I mean, it's
For me, this is where I grew up. Basically, I've been here
yeah,
since 19 years old, and I'm 25, going on 26 now. I've spent a huge chunk of my, I guess, important adult years here. So it's someplace I formed a bond with, of course. But kind of like what I was talking about earlier, I understand this is a business. If it's in the franchise's best interest to move me elsewhere and to get assets in return, then it's no bad blood. But if it's in the best interest to keep me here and then to keep playing and to ride this out, then I'm gonna step in between them lines and keep being myself. Like I said, I have a somewhat of emotional bond with the city, but you have to cut off those ties, those emotions when it comes to business. So I just take it for what it is.
I've had several friends just get blindsided, get traded without them even knowing that they were even being considered for that. And one of them told me that obviously it's a massive change, right? You set your roots, you have a house, and your friends, whatever, and then you get traded. But he said he was becoming kind of like they loved him in that city and celebrated him, but you become kind of like, I see you, like you've been here for a while, and then the new city you become that new kid again, and people are super excited about you again. So it's kind of it's nice on both sides, So if that does happen, hey, the new town's gonna be super excited because you're new and you're pumped. They're pumped you're there. So I can't even, stability is nice, but wherever you end up, you'll crush it. You're the man, so you'll figure that out. Wow. Well, hopefully I wish that we had a team in Puerto Rico. You can come out here.
Man, so they say, man. I actually got some peoples down there too, man. One of my high school teammates, his grandfather is like the equivalent to like our Jerry Colangelo of USA basketball. His grandfather run
Really?
for Puerto Rican national team in a sense like that. So I've always wanted to make some. I believe the city's like Bayamon. Is it Bayamon or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's where I think that he's from, and a lot of those guys stay. So it'd be dope to kind of come out there one day and show some love.
Dude, come out. I mean, The place is amazing. I live pretty close to there, but yeah, you come out, you'll love it. And after you retire too in a long time, I'll tell you why. There's a lot of incentives to come and you'll love it. Now, how have you prepared yourself? Let's say, this LLC is being fueled by the money that you're making playing basketball. So let's say when that ends, do you have income generation investments, or is it like, how do you keep fueling that LLC when you're not playing basketball?
Well, obviously, a big chunk of it, comes from my NBA check, but
Right.
I also have, certain endorsements and stuff like that that fuel, a lot of, like I have a sneaker deal, and Mountain Dew is one of my main, partners as well, and just local deals I have here and there. The Like I said, the large chunk of my money is actually going to come from basketball itself, but then I try to make small time investments too. Like I'm just now starting to try to get into real estate and buying land and whatnot. Obviously, that's something that can always appreciate or at any time depreciate. But like um, you know, I start messing around with the stock market a little bit too. That's always hit or miss. I'm trying to get into the NFT space. I'm still learning more and more about it just because it's such a craze. I don't want to just throw my eggs in one basket, but I'm learning more about that and the crypto and whatnot. Um, and then just kind of working with people like in the area, like in Dallas, like just small time investments and stuff like that. It's just something that's kind of been kind of cool to finally put my name, under.
I like it. What about have you ever collected baseball cards? I mean, I know you loved baseball. Did you ever collect the cards?
Yeah, I had a huge collection when I was a kid. They're probably still in my parents' like basement or whatever. But like we don't have basements in Texas. We have attics. Yeah, one of our attics. Um, but yeah, I'm sure there's probably some gems in there somewhere.
For sure. Now, are you into it again or no?
Not as much, and I kind of fell off with it. Especially since since I moved out now and I have other stuff to do. But I know coming from you, there's a lot of profit into it.
Well, I mean, the reason why I think it's like you being a stock picker, but you knowing all the inside information. So,
Mhm.
which guys are working really hard on the off season, which guys are slacking off. Which guys you think are going to do well or not. And that's where you can go and buy those cards thinking that they're going to have a good year. And if they have a good year, boom, it pops. Or, you can, if you've got cards and you're like, hey, this guy's kind of being a slacker, then hey, let's dump these because he's going to have a bad year. So that's why I like it for, listen, it's fun. I wouldn't put all your eggs in any basket. I'm always at, diversification. It's an alternative asset, small allocation of your finances.
Mhm.
And worst case, but I'm also long on it. One day you're gonna have kids or whatever, you pass it on, and how cool is this? But it's historically beat the S&P 500, so
Hmm.
it's worked out to be a pretty good investment. I just got offered 15 million for that $5 million card I bought, so it's
15 million for a piece of cardboard. Like, let that sink in.
it's crazy. But also you look at art. You look at houses. I mean, it's a supply with anything. The reason why prices go up in my eyes is supply and demand. And with cards, there's a limited supply. And if the demand keeps rising, um, then the price just goes up. You're not making more cards. And so that's why. And same thing with art. If the demand goes up for Andy Warhol and there's a limited supply, well, that price just keeps going up.
Mhm.
But you should totally at least buy yourself. I mean, how cool is it that you have basketball cards? I mean, think about the 6-year-old yourself. That is the coolest thing in the world. You got to buy all your own cards.
I know I definitely have quite a few of my own cards. I definitely have quite a few of my own cards. What people don't realize either is that we athletes, we actually, all those cards you see signed in packs, we actually sign all those cards, like
Crazy.
legitimate. They don't just put stamps on. Like us, we take the time to sign every single one of those hundred thousands of cards. So, with the companies I work with, like Panini is one of the big ones I work with, and their cards and whatnot. I get to keep on my own. And you said it, so one of the coolest things to me is, being in the city and just going to like a grocery store and then seeing somebody with my jersey on, or like seeing
Yeah.
little kids like with little mini jerseys and stuff where I come to a game and then everybody's chanting my name, my jersey. Like it's that never gets old, and that never will get old. That admiration and how people view you and how an entire state just take you in, like that's something that's pretty dope. And that's something I never get tired of. It's one of the cool experiences I've had, being a pro.
That's incredible. What do you do with your jerseys after each game? Do they you give those back and they just wash it and give it back to you, or do you keep them at each game and give them away to people, or how does that
Yeah,
work?
depends. Like, I think after every season, we get to get our jerseys and keep them. And sometimes I'll, donate them to charities and whatnot or auction them off. But a lot of times, honestly, I keep all my jerseys. My mom is huge on that. Ever since my middle school, days, she's kept every single basketball jersey I've ever worn. And it's something she just collects over time. And obviously, whether it's worth money one day or whether it's just something I hand down, to my children, like it's something that's going to always hold value in a sense.
That's cool. Yeah, because I know a lot of guys, they'll, the jersey swap or, sign them and send them to people as like, so they'll always have a piece of them in their house or, that's cool. It's just interesting to see what people do. What about your shoes? Because people collect shoes, jerseys. That's about it, right?
Yeah, people that shoes, jerseys. I mean, warm ups, all sorts of stuff. I mean, my shoes personally, I just remember being a kid and being, I've worn a size 18 shoe since I was 14 years old. Yeah, like legitimately. And you don't just find size 18s at your local, Foot Locker or just laying around. Like those are very hard to come by. So I try to look for kids who are kind of like in the same position as me. And I found quite a few around Indianapolis that, this newer generation of kids are all huge. But, I found kids that can actually use them. So, or I reach out to other athletes or find guys who need the resources. I don't like to just throw my shoes away. So I mean, that's one of the big things I've done, and so that's been beneficial for me. And kind of just reminding me of my childhood. That's Chris Bosh, one of the guys who helped me out. He's from Dallas as well, and he used to send. We had the same trainer. He used to send like suit jackets and clothes and stuff like that, just to try to make ends meet in a sense. I wore Converse Chuck Taylors to school every single day in high school. Shoes that fit me.
Okay, well, let's talk about fashion. Dude, your fashion lately has been freaking killing it.
Yeah, man. So Um, I never was super into being the whole highly fashionable or like the guy that people look at. Like I was always I'm gonna wear a jumpsuit, sweatshirt to the game type of thing. Like who really cares? But when they say look good, feel good, play good, that's real, man. And I'm like I said earlier, I'm the CEO of my own company. I want to be represented in a way. I want to look good. I want people to to view myself as one who's a free thinker, a creative individual. Fashion is really all about confidence. You can throw whatever you want to throw on as long as you wear it with confidence. Like it's hot. Like you just make it pop. And I wanted to get more into it because there's so many opportunities outside of basketball, like in the fashion world, like working with certain creators and collabing people. My little sister, she's getting into modeling. Maybe meeting people there and collabing with designers in the future, or whatnot, or going to fashion weeks, or you know, it's just something that's cool outside of basketball. Because, like you said, you're not like a huge follower of basketball or sports, but you don't have to be just to appreciate what someone has on in a sense, or appreciate building a brand, and that's all this is about.
Got it. Good for you. So it's helped you in basketball because you feel better, you feel confident, and then you go out there and kick ass on the court.
Exactly. That's a great way of looking at it.
And hopefully too, it maybe brings some brand deals on the side.
Of course, man, because I'm 7 feet tall. I'm marketable. I'm someone. That's the difference between us and football and even baseball. These guys wear helmets and wear
Yeah.
caps over their face, whereas basketball players, we're front and center. Our last names on our jerseys. You see our face all games, and brands want to work with people who have that type of exposure.
Yep. Okay, so what's on the bucket list? You've done a lot of stuff in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done more than 99.9% of the world could dream of. What's like on your bucket list still? I don't know. What are a couple of things you still want to do that you haven't done yet?
So a lot of people like to call me a Renaissance man in the sense of like I spend my off seasons very differently. I spend a lot of it outdoors. I spend a lot of it just trying to explore different parts of the world, different parts of the country. I personally want to see all the seven wonders of the world, all the great seven wonders of the world. I've already seen the Great Wall of China, I've done the Grand Canyon, but I haven't done anything else, and I want to be able to see every single one, check all those off. I want to go to Africa. I think Africa gets such a bad. I'm actually trying to go this summer. I think I might be able to make that happen. But Africa gets such a bad like rap and representation on TV. You know, you see nothing but kids who are hungry or poverty or lions and all types of stuff. But Africa is literally one of the most nutrient or not nutrient, one of the most like one of the richest like you know continents in the entire
Yeah.
world. The resource that they have, they have just like anywhere else here in America. They have rich parts, they have poor parts, and I want to be able to establish, like see a different side of society outside of the states and whatnot. So that's a big one for me. I want to see the Northern Lights, bro. That looks so dope to me. Like
So
just
cool.
experience that, with my peoples and whatnot. What else? I want to go hot air ballooning. I've never done that. It's definitely against my contract, so I probably have to wait until I'm done playing basketball
Yeah.
to do that. But I want to do that too.
Where do you want to do that one at? I did it in California, and and you basically get up in it, and then we scooped down and picked, I think, apples from the tree, and then took back off.
That is sick, bro. Yeah, something like that, bro. Just be able to. I just want to be able to do stuff that normal people can't necessarily do.
Yeah.
Like travel the world, see different sites, take it all in. There's plenty of people I know from my hometown that haven't even left Texas. Like I've never left the state of Texas before, and like I never wanted to be that person. I always wanted to get outside of myself and you know see what else is out there. So yeah, that's a lot of it. Me, I guess it would be with travel.
What about a purchase that's $500 or less? That's been the most game changer. Life, it's helped your life the most, and just something that I think other people, you'll spend $500 on an iPhone, but something that's just really helped you the most
Bro, Legos. I swear.
because it's more like a meditation because you're figuring things out.
Yeah. Here, so this is one of the ones I've worked on. This is the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. I'm a nerd, bro. Like I'm sure you
No,
know
I
me.
love it. I know you're into Legos.
Stuff and all this type of stuff. Doing the Titanic right now, throwing all this stuff together.
Wow.
For me personally, it's very therapeutic. What people don't realize with the NBA as well is, you have so much spare time. So if I go to practice at, say, I'll leave my house at 9 o'clock, I'm probably back home by 1:30.
Yeah.
What do you do from 1:30 up until midnight or wherever you go to sleep? You have all this spare time. And when guys are 18, 19 years old, that's when guys start getting in trouble. When you have all this spare time, you don't use the spare time
And you got
wisely.
all this money.
And you got all this money, and no one can tell you no. Stuff you've not really accustomed to. Guys blow their money, like guys become, drug addicts, guys become addicted to alcohol in a sense, and I play with Legos. Like that was just like what I did when I was a rookie, something I did with my parents or my dad when I was younger to bond, to bond and whatnot. And I love the challenge of like this one I put together is 9,000 pieces. Like the
Wow.
satisfaction of being able to say that I put 9,000 pieces together and seeing the finished product when it's done is everything to me. And I just throw my music on, I just go back here and turn my phone on, do not disturb, and just pump them out, bro. It's just fun for me. So yeah,
Are
under
you
five.
sponsored by Lego?
I'm not, working on it. I'm
Dude,
working on it.
what? Lego. Pay my guy. That's
Bro, man.
crazy.
Gotta reach, man. I gotta influence. I want to get on that Lego Masters show. That looks dope.
Have you reached out about doing it?
Yeah, no, I've talked to my people. I switched representation and whatnot, so they've reached out, but they're one of those like brands that like you can't name like one athlete right now that works with Lego. You know what I mean? Or does they might do a little one off post here and there, but as far as an actual athlete that just works as an ambassador, there's not a lot of them. So in due time.
Well, this year we got to get you a Lego deal. I mean,
What's that?
that'd be cool.
Hell
First
yeah,
guy to have a Lego deal.
right?
Can they do a Lego out of you?
They have. I have. I'm going to unveil it. It's actually going to be the centerpiece in my house. It's life size. It's taller than me. I don't want to say what it is yet. I haven't released anything yet. But once my house is supposed to be, I live. I live in Austin, Texas. I love it out there. I live on Lake Travis, beautiful spot. I actually was able to buy it during the pandemic, and it's like worth triple what it is now. It was a great investment. But, I've been getting renovated and whatnot, and it's supposed to be ready in March and April. So that's when I'll be putting that out there. Once they see the actual piece, it's going to be really cool.
Now, did you have somebody else privately make that, or did Lego make that for you, or did you just say, "I'm going to make it myself"?
It would have been, dope it would have been to say I made that myself, but no, there's a definitely professional process to this. I had a guy who's actually I'm not sure if it's Toronto. I think he's in Canada for sure. I believe he's out of Toronto. I don't want to say his name yet either. I'm gonna pull everything out,
Yeah.
but he was able to build it for me, and he's incredible what he does. He makes Legos for all these museums and all sorts of companies and whatnot. My mom was actually able to reach out to him, and he doesn't normally do stuff for athletes or private stuff, and she was able to go in there and make it happen. So, when I release everything, it'll be really cool. It'll be worth it.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that. That's crazy. And that's such a perfect, like, I think art should be, you should buy it because you love it, not because of the speculative price that you think it's going to go to. And
Right.
that is perfect because it's something that you love, you're passionate about, and you'll get enjoyment out of it. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, man.
Any advice, any other advice that I'm missing that you'd give to, somebody?
Yeah, I got plenty, bro.
Give it to me.
So the reason I quit baseball is because I let a coach literally tell me that I wasn't good enough, and I was in seventh grade, sixth,
Wow.
seventh grade. Quit. I told you everybody caught up to me talent wise in a sense. I was one of those guys who was really good, better than everybody. I was like, well, for whatever reason, I developed a lot faster than a lot of kids in baseball. But I had a down year, and this asshole coach, man, I remember to this day, he basically killed my confidence at 12 years old. And he basically told me, like, listen, you just need to stick to basketball. Baseball is not for you. This isn't, you don't, you just stick to basketball. And my dad said he will never let that happen again. So from that day forward, my dad coached me in basketball all the way up to I was
Wow.
in school and, going into college and whatnot. So what I would say, no matter how good or no matter how bad things get in any respective part of your life, don't ever let somebody outside of your circle or outside of who has your best interest tell you that you can't do something or you're not cut out for something. Because I really, I'm not saying I would have been a professional baseball player, but my love for the game wouldn't have been tarnished at such a young age hadn't I let him talk me out of it in a sense. And that's not healthy for any preteens cognitive development to have somebody at that level telling you you're not good at something. So that's one. Another thing I would say is, confidence is not something that you just happen. It's confidence is something you work on. Um, I haven't always been like the most confident guy in the room, but I've always been one of the more competitive guys in the room. So my competitive is made up of my lack of confidence in a sense. I hated losing. It could be tic tac toe, bro. If I lose tic tac toe, I'm pissed. I'm livid. I was playing Uno earlier today, and I lost like a series of Uno, and I was livid. Like it just looked stuff like that. But that made up for my lack of confidence. Like you can't you got to work on your confidence. It's not just going to happen overnight. I don't care if you're watching motivational videos. I don't care if you're listening to speeches from your mom or dad. Anything, do something to work on your confidence from a young age. you know and build that, whether it's surrounding yourself with confident people, whether it's talking to yourself in the mirror every day and hyping yourself up, whatever that may be. Build that confidence from a young age and let that carry you. And then lastly, I would just say, like from a youth perspective, like your parents have your best interest in mind.
Yeah.
There's gonna be plenty of people who see potential in you, or see or want to seek something out of you in a sense that obviously don't have your best interest in mind, but they see an opportunity in you. Like I was always say, listen to your parents. Like don't let outside coaches, outside, you know, friends, like influence you in other ways. Like, you got to be able to take the advice of the people who care the most about you. And that's up to you to figure out who those people are.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Mhm.
What's something that I guess people can do for you? You seem like you just kind of help everybody. What's something that you really appreciate when they do it for you?
Man, that's a great question, Rob. I think that you're right. I do spend a lot of time, worrying about everybody else. I
Yeah.
don't spend a lot of time on me. Um, I don't ask for much. Honestly, that's what it is. I think that I'm given a lot because I can handle a lot. In the days of mental health and all that type of stuff, I've never been like a guy who suffers from anxiety, or we all have it, but I've never been a guy who was like, oh God, I have such bad anxiety, or I've never been a guy that was super worried about my mental health in a sense. But like that stuff is real, man. I didn't realize how much of a factor that plays in sports and whatnot. So I think for me, just like support, man. I just realized that like I'm not just a pawn in the game. Like I'm a human being as well. People see us athletes as superhuman and untouchable, and we all go through it. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what I'd ask for in people. I would just ask for support. Ask for support in things I do, not just in basketball, but endeavors I have outside of and just in life.
That's what people don't realize, that's free, to promote what you're doing outside of basketball or basketball, just to be excited about it and to yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let's say that you launch a business, if they post it on their Instagram or something, that's what, or when you do well in a
Anything like here's one. I just made a TikTok. I've never been into TikTok. I didn't even know. I used to watch little videos here and there, but I didn't realize the opportunities that come with a TikTok in a sense. So follow your boy on TikTok, man.
yeah, what's your TikTok?
Original underscore Turner.
Tell them one more time.
Original underscore Turner. Same as my
Okay.
Twitter.
And how
Yeah.
do they find you on Instagram? Like, how do they find you?
I kind of like to keep it real basic. It's my name, Turner underscore Myles with a Y. It's Miles with a Y. Very important. I think people spell their Miles with an I or lames, but that's just me.
I like it. Okay, yeah, good. So we got to support you and follow you on. I'm not on TikTok. I'll be honest.
Bro, honestly, I was the same exact way. You just kind of not really TikTok. I was the same exact way. That shit is hilarious. One, two. I learned so much just in little 60-second videos. There's like conspiracy theories, or there's like how-to videos, or there's so much. It's crazy how much the music industry is involved with TikTok as well, and how much it comes out of it. I think it's a great place. It's also a rabbit hole. It's easy to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling at
Yeah,
3 morning, but so is anything else. So yeah.
I'll check it out. I never really got on Twitter either. I found out, people have made Twitters for me and stuff, but I'm not on Twitter.
I just get my news off Twitter. I don't really. Twitter used to be a great place in high school. We had this thing called Twitter After Dark. You just had to be there. But
Really?
yeah, nah. I don't really like watch the news on TV, but Twitter's like good for like getting like fast updated information, to CNN, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I need to get on that too. And then how do they find you on the Twitter? Is the same as your Instagram?
Same as my TikTok. So original
Okay.
underscore Turner is my Twitter and my TikTok, and Turner underscore Miles is my Instagram. So yeah, follow your boy, man. Show me some love.
Anything else you're excited about that you want people to know about besides, obviously this season is going to be great, but anything else that you want to tell people
Yeah.
about?
I have my basketball camp coming up. In my hometown of Bedford, Texas. It's actually literally at the DFW airport where I'm going to be holding it. Jermaine O'Neal, another Indiana legend. It's
Yeah.
actually connected to the airport, and I'll be having my fourth annual basketball camp. I've had this shut down the past 2 years, obviously because of COVID, and then year before that I was playing USA basketball. So
I remember.
it's something that is very very important to me. Something I take a lot of pride in is my kids. It's basically ages, if I'm not mistaken, it's 6 to, I believe it's like third grade all the way up to like damn near senior in high school. Like I have a lot of kids. I'll be posting a lot more information about it on my socials, but that's actually coming up the first week of August.
Do they
It'll
have
be
to pay to go to that, or how does that work?
So the camp itself, I have some scholarships that some people are eligible for, and then it is a paid camp as well, and then I host free camps as well. But like I said, just be on the lookout for more information about that. I try to get as many kids into camps as possible. It's free information, it's free game, it's a chance for everybody to come out, just have a little bit of fun, learn from someone who's a veteran in this league.
Yeah.
And honestly, bro, it's just a great time, man. I go there and I have such a ball. I'm a kid again. I'm running around, chasing these kids around, and just going back, to that part of my life, and just putting myself back in their mind of trying to get to where I'm at today at 9, 10 years old. So I'll be posting more information about it, but to support my camps, and if I have any kids that would like to come, please, please reach out.
Do you think about, you being that kid? Do you remember who you looked up to at that age? Because, these kids, obviously, they go, you're the biggest thing in the world to them. Who did you look up to?
Yeah, I had a couple. Being from Dallas Fort Worth there, I definitely learned that Dirk Nowitzki. He was a huge one for me. Someone that was a 7-footer, played a similar style of of game. Kevin Durant was a huge one. It's someone who transcended the game with the University of Texas. LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Garnett. Um, I had a lot of influences in the game. Those are just to name a few, but just big men that were, you know, had similar games in mind in a sense, or and whatnot.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that's good. It's just so cool to just kind of put yourself back in those kids' shoes. I mean, I just can't imagine walking in and all those guys are there for you, and
Right.
so excited just
Amazing.
to be in
It's
your
an
presence.
humbling feeling, man. And it's just incredible just to be in the presence of just such sheer joy. I feel like I was telling you earlier, like basketball is such a business now. You show up, it's your job, but when you're around kids who are just don't have a clue or just about any of that type of stuff, or just ignorant to like the professional side of basketball, it's still fun to them. So to be in that, be in that room full of that energy and just be around those kids, it's incredible.
Dude, I tell you, I'm in a text chat and one of the guys posted a video about him giving his shoes to a kid and how the kid's reaction. I'm like, how
Mhm.
crazy is that? People get so excited that you give them their shoes. Like,
Bro, like that's why it's so hard for me. Like when I'm out and about, like it's hard for me to say no to people who want pictures. Like if I'm at my dinner, if I'm at the dinner table and I'm eating, like don't disturb me type of thing. But if I'm just walking down the street, and in Indy itself, and I used to do it a lot, just walk around, like you never know how much you probably made this person's day or
no.
what that person's going through. Like if that person's like battling really bad depression, or he's had a really bad day at work, and all of a sudden he sees a sports figure. Oh damn, that's Myles Turner. Like they ask for a picture. Like, oh yeah, bro, come on. Think
Yep.
about might like spit in their face. Like, no, bro, get the hell out of here. I'm not taking no picture. Like I could have made their day that much worse, or I could have made their day that much better. And especially kids, I always try to say yes to kids and just kind of just be that figure. It's not every day you see a 7-footer who plays in the NBA walking down the street. So yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you, great guy. What is it? Peter Parker's uncle? He said, with great power is great responsibility.
Watch this. Literally, that's a big post that hangs in my. Those are the words I live by and always have. Yeah.
It's true. And you're doing a great job at it. You've changed your family's life. You've changed your own life because of hard work and dedication and commitment. Food, I think, is a massive commitment too. And I'm just so proud of you. That's just, it's been amazing to watch from the sidelines, since I met you, just to watch what you've done and how you've maneuvered. And dude, I can't wait to just keep watching you take over the world and change the world. So
Love, man. I appreciate you, Rob.
I appreciate you being here and, doing this for myself and for everybody else that's listening. So you are the man. You are definitely a Titan, and I appreciate you. Thank you for joining.
Much love, man. Shout out to everybody listening.